Good afternoon. You're watching This Is Now. First at noon, President Biden continues to isolate with COVID-19, and there are reports of high-level Democrats making a push for the commander-in-chief to reconsider his reelection bid.
But the Biden campaign is pushing onward. Vice President Kamala Harris brought the message to voters in North Carolina. Skylar Henry has the latest from the White House.
Vice President Kamala Harris hit the campaign trail in Fayetteville, North Carolina Thursday afternoon, pitching President Joe Biden as the clear choice for the middle class.
With every decision he makes in the Oval Office, he thinks about how it will impact working Americans. He understands.
She did not address what many are questioning: President Biden's ability to stay the course to November. Campaign leadership speaking from Milwaukee tamped down talk of a shuffle.
Our campaign is not working through any scenarios where President Biden is not the top of the ticket. He is and will be the Democratic nominee.
President Biden is isolating at his home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, where doctors say he is experiencing mild COVID symptoms. It's just the latest setback in his reelection campaign. Former President Obama's office declined to comment on a Washington Post report that he has expressed concerns to allies about a, quote, diminishing path to re-election, but said the two leaders speak frequently. On Capitol Hill, Democratic leadership, including Congressman Hakeem Jeffries and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, have spoken with President Biden in the past week over party concerns. Others in the party are stressing unity.
He is our nominee, and unless or until he suggests different, we got work to do.
There are a little more than 100 days left until voters decide if they think President Biden is ready for another term. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Former President Trump will deliver his acceptance speech at the Republican National Convention tonight. It's the culmination of a 4-day event unifying and uniting the Republican Party. Now delegates are hoping Trump's speech will appeal to some new voters. Natalie Brand has more from Milwaukee.
Former President Donald Trump spent the morning putting the finishing touches on his nomination acceptance speech.
What do you want to see from Donald Trump tonight?
I would like to see a kinder, gentler Trump, and I want to make sure that he has taken a moment to realize the magnitude of the event he went through on Saturday.
Trump says he rewrote the speech following last week's attempted assassination to focus more on unity.
What do you want to hear in this speech?
A welcoming speech. I mean, we've got a lot of Republicans here. There's a lot of people watching on TV, and we'd like to make sure that he welcomes more people into the party.
RNC co-chair Laura Trump says her father-in-law was impacted by the shooting, and she expects to see a softer version of Trump tonight.
If he does have this softer tone, do you think that's going to continue after this convention?
Well, Trump is Trump. Yes, he may have a few mean tweets here and there, but you judge by the policies and what he can do to make America great again.
Trump's new running mate is wasting no time reaching out to voters, meeting this morning with conservative Christians.
Remember that this is a guy who delivered for social conservatives more than any president in my 39 years of life. I think he deserves a little bit of grace, and he deserves a little bit of trust, and I hope that we will all provide that to him.
Ohio Senator J.D. Vance will be with Trump Saturday as the two work to carry momentum from this week's convention to a rally in the battleground state of Michigan. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Milwaukee.
A woman was killed around 2 a.m. Thursday after she was hit by two vehicles in Kaneohe. This was on Kamehameha Highway near the Pali. Officials said the 32-year-old had been walking partially on the road when she was hit by a 75-year-old driver. As she lay on the road, investigators said she was hit by another vehicle. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The first driver did stop, but the second driver drove away. Witnesses told police that the second vehicle looked like some kind of commercial dump truck. This is the 22nd traffic-related death on Oahu this year. And now to the latest on the fire at the former Aloha Kia dealership near Honolulu's airport. Flames broke out there around 11:15 Wednesday morning, and it took crews over 6 hours to extinguish the fire.
The commercial fires are challenging for us to fight because a lot of times there's void spaces and there might be alterations and renovations that happen to satisfy whatever the business is trying to achieve at that time.
Thankfully, no one was hurt. A damage estimate is pending along with the cause. Now to a terrifying and graphic story that was all caught on camera out of Florida. New videos released by the Fort Lauderdale police captured the scary moments after a crane fell onto a bridge last April. A construction worker died and several others were injured. Steve Litz reports.
Video from the bridge tender house with an up-close look at a chunk of a crane falling on two vehicles in downtown Fort Lauderdale. A dashboard camera from farther away with another angle. The moments after were intense.
Go over there, away from the crane.
It's already falling.
It could keep falling. Walk over there.
Hey. That thing almost fell on me, okay?
Police body-worn camera captured first responders interacting with victims.
Come on, okay. We need you to get moving. This crane might collapse.
My mind is pretty messed up.
Okay.
But if I could have my phone.
The incident happened April 4th at a residential tower under construction right next to the New River. A chunk of the crane and construction materials broke off, falling onto the 3rd Avenue Bridge. Workers told police the segment of the crane fell from the very top of the structure.
Something snapped that made that thing fall.
Okay.
Because that thing was already in place.
Okay.
So something snapped.
So there's nothing that hit it or caused it to fail?
No.
Worker Jorge De La Torre fell to his death. Gemelin Castillo was badly injured. And this was her right after it happened. She was in the back seat of a ride share, a Tesla, when the chunk of crane fell on the car. She's filed suit against the crane company, the general contractor, and others. Her attorney has seen the video.
When these types of things happen, as a community, we have to look and say, what are we doing to make sure it doesn't happen again? Because right now, I haven't heard anything about any criminal charges. And where's the accountability?
The Honolulu Police Department says it can save hundreds of thousands of dollars by developing its own electronic system to ticket drivers. Now, this comes after a pilot program that was expensive and ended up violating procurement rules. Lynn Kawano has more on the new technology that's about to roll out.
HPD has been working for more than a year to develop their own e-citation program.
So this is what the interface is going to look like.
Honolulu police commissioners heard about the new system the department created to expedite the ticketing process. In 2018, HPD started a 4-year pilot program using a vendor, Thin Blue Line Reporting. The department continued using the company for training and other services after the contract ended, which violated procurement policies and cost taxpayers nearly $575,000 for the equipment, service, and late fees. Officers went back to manually inputting citations while HPD worked to develop their own internal e-ticket system to bypass using a vendor in the future, which they said was expensive, required special equipment, and didn't integrate with the HPD record system. The technology being developed is supposed to make ticket writing a lot easier and save time for officers because it auto-populates the form.
Sometimes on a citation, because you know how long our driver's license numbers are. So if you put a 6 where you should have had a 5 or whatever the case may be, it totally kind of skews the problem, right? So we don't always get the most accurate citation.
The new system will be tested by patrol officers starting next month. The full cost is still being determined. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
HPD Chief Joe Logan says he believes officers who beat a vehicle theft suspect in Kaneohe used appropriate force. This happened Tuesday afternoon on Like Highway. Officers pulled a 46-year-old man from a stolen Lexus, but as he was lying on the ground, some officers kicked and punched him multiple times. The suspect was booked on multiple counts, including a drug offense and an outstanding warrant. We asked HPD if he was armed and are waiting a response. Yesterday, the police commission asked Chief Logan if the level of force was appropriate.
From my knowledge and experience as being a police officer, what I observed the officers doing when they were trying to take the driver out of the vehicle, I firmly and believe that he was solidly resisting, trying to stay inside the vehicle and not be brought out of the vehicle where he can be further placed under arrest using handcuffs and other devices. So, yes, it doesn't seem to be anything that's unusual at this point in time.
Logan says the suspect suffered minor injuries and no officers were hurt. He says those officers are part of the Crime Reduction Unit, a division that does not wear body cameras. However, HPD says it is investigating the incident and officers could face discharge if it's found they used excessive force. The jury in the trial of accused crime boss Mike Miske continues deliberations today. Jurors are showing some confusion over whether Miske is responsible for the crimes he's been charged with. Daryl Huff has the questions they've been asking the judge.
During the trial, it became clear that Miske did not always order or directly benefit from some of the crimes being committed by his associates. It seems that some of the jurors are struggling with how to connect Miske to those crimes. Prosecutors depicted Mike Miske as the mastermind of the criminal conspiracy, but the law doesn't require that he know everything that's going on.
You're responsible for everything someone does who's part of the conspiracy, whether you know it or not. So it's a little bit counterintuitive that maybe he didn't know, but he's still responsible. The jury's got to figure that out.
And that's sounding like a struggle. On Tuesday, the jurors sent two questions to the judge. In the first, they asked if condoning an act after the fact equals agreement that the act is an element of racketeering. The judge referred them back to their written instructions, which led to another question. It said some jurors believe Miske must condone, participate, or benefit from the criminal acts, and said the defendant did not have specific knowledge of or participate in most robberies or drug transactions.
There's a snapshot that's telling us that some jurors are feeling one way and other jurors are feeling another way. That doesn't mean that they can't still come together and have a verdict in the end.
Retired federal public defender Alexander Silvert says a confused jury is good for the defense.
If there's confusion and disagreement among the jury, they can't be unanimous. And these things do require unanimity. So for the defense, if they don't understand the jury instructions and it's creating confusion, that helps the defense.
I think what's happening here is that the jurors are actually doing a great job. And what you're hearing is that they are thinking hard about this.
There's no way of knowing how many jurors may be confused at this point. The jury has been specifically instructed not to give any indication of how they're divided on any question. Reporting from federal court, Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
Actor and comedian Bob Newhart has died after a series of short illnesses. The 94-year-old starred in 2 long-running CBS sitcoms and inspired a generation of comics with his dry wit and understated delivery. Omar Villafranca has more.
Bob Newhart made millions of Americans laugh with 2 of the most popular sitcoms of the 1970s and 80s. Whether playing a Chicago psychologist or a Vermont innkeeper, his deadpan humor stole the show.
We've got a perfect marriage. Emily, a perfect marriage is where the husband and the wife have the same IQ.
In real life, he started out as an accountant. Comedy was just a hobby, but he made it big in 1960.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Newhart.
Recordings of his stand-up routine won 3 Grammy Awards. In 1972, he arrived in primetime, playing Dr. Bob Hartley in The Bob Newhart Show with Suzanne Pleshette as his wife, Emily. The hapless doctor and his quirky co-stars kept audiences laughing for 6 seasons.
I can't understand you with your mouth full.
He returned to television a few years later with a new show called Newhart. Again, he played the straight man surrounded by off-kilter co-stars.
Nice cologne, Dick. Very Vermont.
Its final episode is considered a TV classic.
You won't believe the dream I just had.
In later years, Newhart played small parts for laughs and collected honors for his influential brand of comedy.
People come up to me more and more and say, thank you for all the laughter. And my response is, thank you for laughing.
Laughter wasn't just his career. Newhart said it was also the secret to his long and happy marriage. Omar Villafranca, CBS News.
All right, let's take a live look outside. The Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, the temperature there is 73 degrees. Again, former President Donald Trump will be officially accepting the Republican nomination tonight in his highly anticipated address. Back here at home, 82 degrees in Honolulu. Guy's going to have your full forecast after this quick break.
Aloha on this Thursday. We're now well into the second month of hurricane season, and there's not much happening here at home in the Central Pacific. And that disturbance that was a possibility to become a cyclone in the East Pacific, well, it's falling apart, moving into cooler water, so it does not pose a threat to us. And you can see how quiet it is here at home. Even the upstream clouds are minimal. However, we do have a few showers this morning for the windward side of Oahu, but really there's not a lot of rain anywhere else. And we're expecting a fairly dry day today. And those winds will run a little slower, picking up speed again tomorrow. So with those slower winds, it might feel a little bit warmer, a little bit stickier, but overall the weather pattern is going to be very, very nice today. High temperatures running to about 87 degrees, and those winds running still at a nice steady 10 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. As far as the surf, it's on the way down pretty much island-wide. Best wave still rolling into the south shore, and east shores remain a little bit choppy at 1 to 3. So for the next few days, the winds will be fluctuating in speeds from time to time. We are expecting a minor boost in showers coming tomorrow. A little bit more rain expected as a disturbance is due in sometime around Tuesday of next week, and breezy winds again will pick up sometime on Sunday.
The cost of school supplies, just like everything else, is on the rise, making the back-to-school season even more expensive for parents. Casey Lund has more on local groups that are stepping up to help and where you can find assistance.
The school supplies like these add up quickly, especially for families with multiple children. Heading back to school can be a really stressful time, and that's why organizations like Helping Hands Hawaii really come in clutch for a lot of the ohana in Hawaii who are struggling to make ends meet and really making sure that their kids have everything they need to be successful. That first day back to school is so important. Susan Furuta is with us. She's the president and CEO for Helping Hands Hawaii. We're in the Community Clearinghouse. I know you folks to do a lot more than just back to school stuff, but the donation distributions that are coming up are top of mind right now for a lot of families that really rely on your services. Can you tell us about Ready to Learn?
Yeah, so this year's goal is 2,500 students statewide will get one of these backpacks that are full of things that are basic, brand new folder paper and composition books and so forth. You know, last year, over 60% of the families who registered for a backpack with us basically said that their monthly income was $2,500 or less. And so, you know, when your family is really just trying to pay the rent, pay the utilities, and get food on the table, school supplies and other kinds of things are, you know, a little bit lower on the priority level. So, you know, this is really going to help our keiki have equal access to educational opportunities and help them find success in the classroom despite their economic situation.
So tell me a little bit about just the next two opportunities folks have if they do find themselves in a position they need the help with school supplies. It is, and we can put the details up on the screen, this Saturday and next, correct?
Yeah, there's distribution events going on here on property. You know, this is our warehouse, and we do a lot of things for our community through the warehouse. But this Saturday, next Saturday, so the 20th and the 27th, sign up with RTL at helpinghandshawaii.org. It'll make that experience a little bit more smoother.
And then you'll be connected to the organization and so many other
definitely.
resources that you folks have. Susan, thank
Absolutely.
you for all you do and for all your team does. I know you have a couple of people you wanted to thank as well, sponsors.
This year's sponsors are Honolulu Cookie Company and American Savings Bank, and they've been really wonderful, supplying us with volunteers and with support for us to get the school supplies in the hands of kids.
And we mahalo them and mahalo you and your team as well again. So all the details, if you missed them, also online at hawaiinewsnow.com. For now, we send things back into the studio.
Well, there are few hairstyles that have the same impact as a mullet, and one teen near Portland, Maine is looking to make his stand out on the national stage. As Cameron Lobley reports, he spent 2 years preparing for this moment.
Behold the main mane of Maine. It's Elliot Big Red Coleman. If you're curious about the nickname, look no further than the top of his head.
I pretty much had Big Red my whole life.
He's one of 32 teens taking part in this year's USA Mullet Championship, the nationwide showdown of business in the front, party in the back. Coleman says he spent the better part of 2 years growing out these locks, having to bounce between hairstylists just to keep it the way he likes it.
The last three were like, they weren't doing too good. They say that they knew what they're doing, but they weren't. In this fourth one, they do pretty good.
And though his family took some convincing to go full mullet,
I thought, no way. This is ridiculous.
now they're excited to see where it takes him.
He stuck out with it, even in the dead of summer. So I said, run with it. And it actually looks pretty good.
The Wyndham family is asking for the community's support to help get Elliot to the finish line and make him this year's champion.
Go mulletchamp.com and find my picture and hit vote and put your email in, please and thank you.
He's got the crown. Now all that's left to do is to make him a mullet king.
Oh boy, what a good hairstyle there. We want to pass along a sad note now. Your Hawaii News Now Ohana is mourning the loss of our news director, Scott Duff. His battle with cancer ended yesterday. He was 59 years old.
Scott leaves behind a wife and 2 children and countless colleagues here and everywhere who admired him greatly. Annalisa Burgos looks back at his career.
Those who knew Scott Duff say he wasn't just a dedicated journalist, but a coach who cared about people and the community.
I will remember him as just such a positive person. He just walked in with such a great spirit, no matter the day, no matter what was going on. He was always there to try to rally us and get us to work together and make us want to work harder.
Scott joined HNN on August 1st, 2022, from our Gray sister station, WSFA 12 News in Montgomery, Alabama, where he was news director for 16 years. He led that team through hundreds of breaking news events and special projects and launched several newscasts and initiatives, including bringing Lester Holt to Alabama's capital city for a live broadcast of NBC Nightly News. When the news director role at HNN opened up, Scott jumped at the opportunity to lead our award-winning team, even though he had never been to Hawaii before. When he got here, he made sure everyone knew how honored and blessed he felt to be in Hawaii. Under Scott's leadership, H&N launched its first weekend morning newscast, expanding sunrise to Saturdays and Sundays. He also strengthened H&N's First Alert Weather and H&N Investigates teams. The Ohio native and sports enthusiast often used sports references to inspire and quoted legendary Ohio State football coach Woody Hayes, "You win with people."
He did have such an impact. He wanted to make so many changes to just make us better and to uplift us. And he was on the way to doing that when all of this happened.
Less than a year after joining H&N, Scott was diagnosed with an aggressive throat cancer that required extensive surgery and treatment. Even as he battled the disease, he never quit sending encouraging emails and messages to update us on his condition, even working from home to help the community during the deadliest natural disaster in Hawaii's history. Scott seemed to be doing well, even surviving COVID, and through it all, with a positive attitude, which is why his death comes as a shock. H&N's general manager shared this message from off-island.
Our team at Hawaii News Now lost a great leader and a friend today, and his family lost a great man. Scott was one of a kind. He started every day asking me, "How can I help you?" He had so much experience in our business, but he always led with his heart. He was a true nurturer and coach, and so many on our team have benefited from his approach. Scott loved this business dearly and was one of the best in the biz. It is a very sad day for our Ohana. We will miss Scott dearly.
A sentiment echoed thousands of miles away.
Scott was a great, great guy. He did a lot to contribute to the legacy of that great television station, and he'll be missed by a lot of people.
From all of us at Hawaii News Now, our heartfelt condolences to Scott's wife, Kathy, and his entire family. Annalisa Berg.